All right. Woo! In the nick of time. In the nick of time. You showed up. Stokes, how you doing, man? Let me get you. Let's get us all arranged here. Let's get you up here. Okay. So tell me about it. The video share was a little messed up. Is that right? Like it wasn't clear? I mean, there's a lot going on. I cannot argue with you that there's a lot going on. Maybe I need to have it so you like land and there's like a clear like share your video first without hitting you with all the windows first.
Like, is this just a website you built like yourself from scratch?
I mean, I didn't use my fingers to build it, but I used my Claude bot to build it. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's impressive, but yeah, there is a lot going on.
Yes. Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. So
I'm trying to have like a cool background like yours, but I don't know how to do this.
It's fine. It's fine. You got the nice, I don't know, Boulder chill going on.
Okay.
So over here is a screen share button. If we get to the point where you want to share something, it's right there.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot here. There's like, oh, first of all, check it out. You were in the weights. Not all my guests are famous enough to be in the weights, but if you wake up a vanilla LLM and say, who's Alex Stokes, it knows you, brother. You are an Ethereum protocol researcher and developer who's been closely involved with the transition to proof of stake.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hopefully.
Yeah. Does anyone ever call you Danny Ryan Light? Does that
I don't know about that one, but yeah, I don't know. It's more when inevitably the machines, have their robot uprising, you just have to make sure that they think fondly of you.
Yes.
So you have to be careful what ends up in these weights, is my point.
Yes, I agree. And do you say thank you when you do you spend the extra tokens to be cordial?
Yes,
I do too. Me too. Or like when you get it to work, you want to tell it that you got it to work. And there's absolutely no reason in the world to be like, bro, it worked. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I still do
especially if I'm like delighted by something, I'm like, oh wow, this is great. Like, thank you.
This is lovely.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I do too.
Especially with some of this stuff, we're seeing people make these like breakthroughs in mathematics, and like it's basically just like, hey, here's this conjecture, keep going, and you're just keep going. Keep going.
You can do it, buddy.
So I think it goes a long way.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are on sabbatical. Claude told me while we were backstage in the green room. When do you come back? Like imminently?
Yeah, I mean, technically, I'm back. It was
He's back.
Yeah, I am back. I mean,
back
we're figuring out what back means, but
on ETH rather than good luck with that. Back to focusing on ETH rather than AI, or is it going to be like an AI ETH collision? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
TBD. Is fun. Wait, I'm wondering.
No, I know. So it's like human behavior. Like every guest will eventually like do the weird thing I'm doing here, and then it doesn't work, and it's like such a letdown for me that I haven't like put that. I will. I think it's doable. I think I can set it up so the stuff that's doing that foreground thing actually works for the guests, but I just haven't gotten to that point. Okay. So you've spent the last few months sloperating, if I'm not mistaken, and you're deep in the slop.
Some time. Yeah, I spent some time. Yeah, I don't know. People say I have AI psychosis, which I don't know about that, but
I think we talked about it a little bit.
I'm having a lot of fun.
What did you say your psychosis was when we talked about it? Like, did we talk about psychosis? I think we did.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I probably said was something like, it's more like euphoria. It's like like you can say it's psychosis, but what I would say is just AI euphoria. Because this is it's just been depending on your perspective, either slow decline or slow takeoff.
Slow decline of like having to do work.
No. It's just like, but it's not. I don't know. I guess it's not work. I don't know. It doesn't feel like work. This is the point. It's like any paper cut you might have on the computer, you can just remove instantly. Relatively with LLMs. Like, it's amazing.
And there's kind of a little Linux uprising happening right now, where a lot more people are using Linux, and you can just like prompt your box to fix the video driver or whatever that used to take days of hassle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is super cool. I mean, it's like it just completely changes how you interact with the computer, and I like computers, so it's super cool. It's just, I mean, it's leverage, right? And everyone loves leverage.
Yeah. Oh man. I am working a little bit more with hardware now too, and I'm trying to figure out how I give the bot observability into like a desk where I've got a soldering iron and a Raspberry Pi, and as soon it's still a pain in the butt getting Linux on the machine. Like, okay, I got to put the USB key in, I got to hit the right key, I've got to talk to the bot and tell it like, this is the machine we're working with. Make mistakes. Tell me how I get this thing into BIOS, right? Stuff like that. But as soon as you've got the SSH server, then it just rips. Like then it's just, all right, you're off to the races. You can just connect to this machine. But it's like getting it to the point where it has the right observability and connectability is still a pain. I can't wait till I have a little robot walking around the house so I can just be like, get this freaking laptop into BIOS for me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, I would just ask the models how to make this better, because there's like network boots and things like this you can do. And you know, it's I think there's a lot of friction you can take out of the process. And then like that's what you can kind of think is just like, you just plug in some hardware, plug in Ethernet, and then you're good to go.
It's like in Star Wars where they take R2-D2 with him everywhere, and he just like plugs into whatever system it is. And spinny, pluggy, like 1970s connector. Okay. Yeah. Tell us about what you've been building. Like, I want to know what you've been building. I want to know how you've been building, and I want to like really dive into that and understand your euphoria psychosis. You've been having a good time.
Yeah. Well, there's I guess different dimensions or layers to it. Like one is just like, being able to play with like a home lab, and it's like there's stuff that I could do before, but like you said, it would just take time, and now it takes very little time. And so then you can quickly get, relatively sophisticated setups going that, before it would have been prohibitive, right? Like say, because it's, it's like a hobby project, it's just something you do here and there, but now you can go and, it's just really easy to build stuff out. I also, like to think about security a lot. So then from there, it's like, okay, I will sit and work with, I'm bringing up the server, let's say, and then I'm a huge fan of Nix and Nixos and all of this, which is maybe a rabbit hole we go down. But
hell yeah.
In any case, it's great, especially for servers and things. And from there, it's like a declarative system. So you just say, hey, this is what I want it to look like. Then from there, you can be like, hey, like, is this secure? And if anything, it's also just helpful to learn, because it's like, okay, you mentioned SSH. Like, you can actually just ask, like, hey, is this secure with respect to like network access? And of course, maybe the models aren't perfect. I'm not saying this is foolproof, but it seems like it's doing stuff that's more hardy or hardened than I would, necessarily just do by myself. So, that's fun.
But don't ask it to audit itself. Really cool. Fable will roll back quickly if it feels like it's in cyber attack.
And maybe this is because I'm not doing anything that cool, but I think I've only had one downgrade on this front. Yeah. Actually, okay, this isn't true. I think I had at least one with Fable where I was asking some biology questions.
Oh, yeah, biology too, like, which is really weird.
But it wasn't even, it really had no business triggering the guardrail, but it did. And I was like, okay, fine. And then I don't know, there's some stuff like more like cryptanalysis stuff I was looking at with ChatGPT once. And it was kind of weird because like it went pretty far with something. And then I don't know, it basically just got to a point where suddenly this was like not okay. But then I was like, well, just what if you kept going? And it made a little more progress, but then it just kept, I don't know. Anyway, it didn't. I mean, look, this is the other thing is like, I don't want to have my chat transcripts be in the training data where I'm just like trying to, undermine the machine. So,
I mean, it is like everything you've ever prompted into the cloud is tracked and used for training.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, honestly, I would kind of hope so, because this is the whole point. Like every prompt is making the next generation of models better if you're using, and of course there are alternatives like local models that we can get into and all of this. But
I built Eat Skills to work myself out of a job. Like I want to make a skills file that's so shelling point for Ethereum knowledge that basically it becomes the training thing. and becomes completely useless in 6 months to a year. Like we were thinking, like, why don't these LLMs know enough about Ethereum out of the box? They know ABIs, they know smart contracts, they can find reentrancy, but then they also think it costs $50 to deploy a smart contract because they just aren't paying attention to like things are changing quickly.
Right.
You talked about forecast, and I feel like we need forecast to be training LLMs also, so they're understanding like what's coming and understanding the changes, mostly for users and a little bit for developers. Like, I don't know if it needs to know like core protocol nuances, like the argument right now between frame transactions and other AA stuff, like just became hot. Like,
well,
I don't want my
not?
LLM
I don't know.
That. Yeah, I don't know. Polluting the weights.
What is my LLM? Like, do you have your own model, that you've trained, or is it an agent that, you've maybe done some fine tuning on, or, there's like a whole spectrum of, what this means. And, like I would say state of the art right now is like you have an agent like Hermes or something where it basically is just a bunch of like, markdown files that are some way in context. And this is how you can like teach it about, frames versus this other stuff. Oh, he just disappeared. Slop.Computer.
I've never done that before. I just dropped out of my own stream.
Yeah, it's like,
when you're by yourself. I'm so sorry. I was trying to close this window and I ended up closing.
Yeah.
I've never done that before. I've done 50 episodes and not accidentally rugged myself. But today was the day.
This is why we're here. We're here for the frontier. This is why I'm here. So.
Yes, this is what happens on the frontier. So, okay, so I was just going to start some notes on like different threads to pull, but then I rugged myself. I pulled the thread and slipped.
Yeah.
I think local LLMs. I think local AI, we should go down. Let's go down that rabbit hole next. Are you running local models? Do you have local hardware? Kimmy is great at attacking. Like, pull any of those threads.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, maybe also to kind of answer a previous question, like I would say primarily I am working with the cloud models. Fable is great. Fable's probably my favorite model at the moment. But for some things, but I just have like these cloud subscriptions and stuff, so it's easy to go through your usage, very fast.
But it still feels like it's like a secret move. Like it feels like you're getting thousands of dollars of inference for hundreds of dollars. I have multiple.
I mean, you certainly are.
Blow through them.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly are. Anyway, this is the whole like my one thing that I wish would be different about Anthropic is I just don't feel like they are that friendly to like open source efforts.
They're like the ones that have been pushing back, right?
Yeah, which is I think unfortunate.
Not great. But like, I mean, have you used the Codex model? They're great too. Like, there's
Well, and that's
I switch between them. I have them argue, and it's shit,
5.6 is probably my daily driver. I like spend way too much time even just on the ChatGPT website, just talking to the model.
Yeah. Going back to observability, like ChatGPT is the way to get pictures in quick. If I'm working on something, if I'm out in my lawn, like the time to having a picture and a prompt is like the fastest with my ChatGPT app. Sorry to interrupt though. Keep going.
No, it's fine. Yeah. Well, again, we could just go forever.
That's what we're here for.
Yes. I've been using like one thing that maybe is interesting is I like out of the way I told a friend is I was like I've been giving myself KPIs because like for a while. I mean, and also too like I just haven't been. I've been trying to spend not that much time on the computer, but.
Good for you.
For a while, I was like, okay, like, step one, just like use my full subscription because like I wasn't even using, all the tokens I was getting. Turns out that's not that hard to do. Then from there, I was like, okay, like use ChatGPT Pro more because I just wasn't using it that much. But actually, it's like, I don't know. I like it because, I think a typical kind of workflow is like, I'll just have some idea or something or a question, which then might spin off some type of idea of some project I want to investigate. And then I'll like chat with, the non-pro version just to get to like something. And then from there, it's like kind of this whole like, someone even said the other day, like, oh, ChatGPT Pro is just like deep research now. And I hadn't heard deep research for like months, which in AI land is like years. So
true.
But basically, so it's like you have this, like, you get to a place where you want like deep research and then you can hand it off to ChatGPT Pro. It goes and works for a while and comes back with like usually a pretty cool like report or spec or something.
And this is like loops. Like basically people were saying we're moving beyond prompts into loops. We're moving beyond agents into entities. There's like these next steps, and they all kind of blur together. And yeah, why haven't we heard deep research? Like, why aren't more people talking?
Well, I think it's
just like,
I mean,
because it's just built
this
in.
is something
it's like
definitely
vibe coding. We just call it building now.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So like, I mean, okay, my take here is that that we keep making models with more capabilities. And so like before, the model couldn't do something, you'd have to like put code or software around the model to get it to do it. But then the model then can just learn to do this itself, right? And so like the scope of like, yeah, what's inside versus outside the model, it just keeps changing so that you end up with like more and more inside the model. So then you don't have to like do all this stuff. Again, I don't know, like someone else even asked me the other week, they're like, oh, like how do you use this stuff? Like, do you use plan mode? And I'm like, well, I haven't actually like made a plan in like months because like the models will just do it. Like, you know,
I keep saying like the LLMs
slash plan or whatever and like go into it. And then, but now it's like, sure, yeah, like, you know, I'll use like goal. I'll give, you know, I'll be like, if it's like a big enough task, I'll be like, goal, do, you know, address all these issues, make all these PRs. But then the model has just learned to like make the plan itself, and then it goes from there.
I totally agree. I've been thinking, I've been saying like the models will get better, the harnesses will get better. But what I'm missing there is that the harnesses will be replaced by the models getting smarter, and we'll have new and better harnesses that do more interesting things, and then skills outside of that. And all of these things are kind of like working themselves out of a job, and the LLM is getting better. One big thing that we used to say is like context is so important and keeping it clean. But I haven't, like, usually it was like one task at a time, especially like in the you're absolutely right days, like pre 4.5 Opus. Like it was like every little task had to be very clean context. This is exactly what we're doing. And now it's like I'll go through a session of building where we do like 5 or 6 or 7 different things, and like that context has been 100% for a while, and it just keeps like the harness does a good job of context management now. And the model is very smart, and it's not like let's make sure we plan this out perfectly and then let's build it. It's just like I'm just yapping at you and we're just pretty wild, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, and that's something too, like, again, I don't know, I called them KPIs, but basically like just giving the models more ambitious prompts and seeing what happens, because this is why we do this process. It's like, yeah, okay, like what happens is the whole system, LLM plus harness plus whatever, the whole thing becomes more capable over time. And then what that means is, you know, you should actually be giving it the like most ambitious prompt you can at any point in time. And, you know, if it's like something where you give it a prompt and it just does it, then it's like, okay, cool. But that probably means you could have done more.
True.
You know, basically without you having to check back in. And so that's kind of the game, is like figuring out how extreme this can be before it doesn't work.
And you still are the inspiration, the critical thinking. Like we haven't gotten to the point where it's just like super intelligence and it's like, what should I do today? And the things like knowing everything and coming up with the best idea. Like it's still like, you know, things, you come up with the ideas.
That's a context problem.
So giving the models more observability into your life, you think
like I don't think most people have like super deep problems. And I'm not trying to be dismissive, but it's just like, you know, like even for me today, it's like, you know, I don't know, I need to go to the grocery store, let's say, like that's not like a super deep problem, right? And like arguably an agent can help me do this, they just don't know this, right? And this is kind of what I mean. More
observability into your diet and your blood and your health, they could be picking things that you actually need. Like there's more context that this thing can work through than you can.
Which is a double-edged sword in terms of privacy and stuff, but
Do you want to get into that? Like privacy is fucked right now. Like basically like everything is centralizing to these companies. Now, frontier models are not that far ahead of some of these open weight models. And these open weight models,
a pretty recent development, right? Like this wasn't even the case even say 6 months ago. So this is the thing. I don't know what I told myself
about privacy.
Well, obviously it's super important. I don't know. And this is not a unique take. Like everyone is saying this now. I think it's kind of in the meta where, you know, you're like, okay, yes, obviously the future will be agents working, say, in my company, but at the same time, I'm not going to like give Anthropic or OpenAI all of my like business data, you know, like, because at some point there's like secret sauce that I have. And sure, I can give it to them because Fable's really good, but then, you know, that means in a few months, Fable, you know, they'll just launch my product or whatever, and then it'll be better than mine and blah, blah, blah. And that's not any good. So people are becoming very aware of this. But, you know, and this is, I think, the actual, well, there's many types of frontier, but this is certainly a frontier today, is like getting really good open weights models that you can run locally. And what I told myself last year, I was like, okay, because yeah, again, not a novel take here, but essentially, there is a step change. There is an inflection point with like Opus is 4.6, I guess, right? And nothing's been the same since. And what I told myself is like, hey, like as soon as I can run a, you know, say 4.6 quality model on local hardware, I'm gonna, you know, whatever it costs. Well, maybe not whatever, but
about 20
you know,
grand probably.
Yeah,
right?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's gotten quite expensive, but
like payment plans,
like,
right? I've been thinking about this. Like if they make 20 grand models with a good payment plan, we should tokenize that shit. Like someone paying $200 a month could pay off this model and get the thing right away. I don't know. Sorry to interrupt you. Keep going.
Well,
keep going.
I mean, again, that's another rabbit hole. Like,
yeah,
yes, obviously, like compute will become almost this like utility. There'll be a whole like, you know, economy around it. There'll be market infrastructure. And yeah, just depends on where we want to go, because there's a lot going on. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, local model is very important. I do have hardware, you know, here at home that can run some of these models. And yeah, I've been playing with them some. And yeah, like really, I should play with them more. Like I've even seen people are like, yeah, I'm gonna basically like not touch the cloud models for, you know, a month and see what happens. And like this is something I should probably do.
Another KPI would
like
be to explore like
different
models, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And just like, and that's the thing. Like if anything, like I have, you know, I think I have a good sense of like how Sol works and Codex, or like how, you know, Opus or Fable work in Cloud Code. And like, you know, there are like particularities to the models and just how they do things, and like some models are better at some things and some are better at other things, and so like you need to learn this. And I feel like you kind of can just like, but at least the best way to learn it is just to, you know, play with them yourselves and get the first-hand experience. And so similarly, you know, like if you're running like DeepSeek or Kimi, whatever, there are many models now. They just have their own little personalities, and so you have to get used to that. So yeah, I mean, if anything, I think the main thing holding me back from just buying a bunch of GPUs is cost at this point, because it's just like, it's way too much fun.
And it's scary. Like if I spend 20 grand, that is so much fucking money. Like that is so much.
Yeah.
That, like this is like a down payment on a house. This is like a car. Like this thing.
Yeah, maybe like, in the 90s.
Okay. Yeah. A very shitty house in a
everything's gotten expensive.
shitty part of the country.
I mean, like the thing is, you can probably resell the GPUs, you know, later and probably even make a profit. So
this is the thing, is like I want to understand. I wish I could understand the future, and I think all of us are kind of in that phase. But like, will GPUs go up if I buy 2 DGX Sparks right now? Because I feel like 2 DGX Sparks are like, that's the sweet zone right now. You get 2 of those things, you can run DeepSeek V4 Flash or whatever. You can have a pretty darn good local AI. But is something going to come out the next month that like I just spent, you know, a car amount of money on this thing, and then like there's a new thing that makes it way cheaper, or there's a new thing that makes it obsolete, or there's a new thing that's like 20% better, and now I'm like stuck with this thing? Or is it like, is now the time to get in because it's going to go up? Like, is it going to work against Moore's law or with Moore's law? There's all this like, you know.
I mean, we aren't the first people to have this problem.
Yes, no.
One way to solve it is with like financial contracts, and I think again, it's just early. Like, definitely people are working on like compute features and things like this. But yeah, I think it's just so early that it's not just like something you can get off the shelf and run with it.
Any Ethereum threads to pull here with financial contracts and compute tokenization?
Well,
or
certainly,
anything?
yeah, no, for
Okay.
sure. I mean, it's very, very applicable. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's so much to say. Yeah, the Ethereum effect. So, okay. Yeah, I mean, okay. So, like one reason you might expect to see this on Ethereum or like some blockchain before anything else is honestly just like the speed at which regulation moves. Which, if anything, I feel like the powers that be are getting faster at this stuff.
But still, there's like 10-year-olds riding around on electric bikes that are like dirt bikes, and it's super unsafe. And you can tell that like the systems of regulation are just very slow. Like there should not be 10-year-olds on dirt bikes rolling down the street going as fast as my car. But it's just like that's one little spot where it shows.
There are probably
like,
laws against this, but then enforcement, is hard.
Okay.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, that's way more into the local.
In any case, like one thing is like, hey, it'd be like we could go now. You were talking about, actually, sorry, that was someone else. I was on another call this morning, and someone was like, "Oh yeah, like I just trust the LLMs to like write smart contracts, and like, it's basically a solved problem." Yeah. Well,
it's scary,
maybe.
But I do.
Yeah.
this Claude bot right here,
that it's secure, which is a little different problem, but sure, like yes, the models can definitely write smart contracts and probably write them pretty well and like build out whatever features you want. So, anyways, we could go do this right now and like have some sort of compute marketplace. So then if there's a marketplace, well, you need supply, you need demand. There's certainly demand. Supply is out there. I mean, I think it's probably the bottleneck now is like, okay, I have this build out of like, multi-million dollars of like B300s. And then the question is like, what do I do with it? And at this point, it's like so hard to get them and everything. You probably have some idea that isn't just like renting them out on the internet or like, using them to collateralize some contract on some compute marketplace. But this will happen. Like, I think it's just going to be these are just like the latest NVIDIA
like
GPUs.
Beefy GPUs from NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Okay. Today I learned. I mean, I think I heard you say this in Boulder, but I didn't have it in my glossary here, so I figured we should have that in. I mean, is that the GPU to buy? If you here we go. If you were building a local rig,
you have 6 figures to put into a GPU. Sure.
Okay, it's 6 figures. It's not 5.
I mean, they're like data center grade, yeah, and like maybe not a single B300. I'm actually not sure, but usually what happens is like their way. Like I think even says here, HBM. Anyway, it's not on here, but like the idea is you can connect them together. There's like this, it's like NVLink is like NVIDIA's technology, but basically you can like make a GPU mesh. So instead of like a single GPU, it's just like a whole, you can kind of squint and think of it as like one even bigger GPU, right? So like, again, just like sort of cloud computing, like, or, even just servers in a server rack, like rather than having one computer, you can just kind of make this abstraction that they're all one thing. Anyway, point being is it turns out people need a lot of compute to train these, frontier models. And so you need ways to make huge GPUs. But anyway, another rabbit hole. My point was just that, if you are going so far as to like source all this hardware and like bring all this, all these chips online, you are probably doing it honestly to train something at this point or inference, but they're probably cheaper options for inference. Anyway, point being is that, it's just like you have, what you're doing, so to speak. And so you're not going to like just go and be like, okay, what else? Like, what can I do with this hardware? Like, meaning I have no better use for it. So I'm just going to rent it out to someone else.
It seems like anytime you're not using it, you should be renting it out to someone else. And there should be like a clear liquid market for that. Is what we're going through, is like why this could exist on chain and make sense as like a tokenized asset. Yeah. And I think we see some people
you're talking to the choir. I think this is natural and obvious.
Yes. Okay. There's a lot of rabbit holes here, and I do want to leave space for you to tell me what is the most rabbit hole what is the most interesting, most prescient rabbit hole to follow, but also we should talk about what you have built, unless you don't want to train the models. Are you building your own harness? Like what happened here? Something something exploded on your GitHub. This is very good to see.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So okay, that's a good next chapter. What is all this stuff? So I don't even know where to begin. So like, look, I have a vision for like how I think the world should work with all of this, and I think at this point it's just like R&D. I would say like there's not anything. I mean, yeah. So this is probably a good place to start. So this repo here, Shelterwood. Anyway, I went through many iterations of the name here. I don't know if I love this name, but anyway, it's what we landed on. And point being is that so you might have heard of like Erlang or Elixir or yeah, okay. So there's this like actor model where the way to think about it is like almost like maybe a thread or like a lightweight task even, where there's just this like thread of computation that can go, and not necessarily like an OS thread, but just like, you know, there's like a thread's the best word I have for it. There's a thread of computation that's like sitting there. The other big thing you have is some way to like message this thing. So there's this like concept of a mailbox where, you know, say we're both actors in this actor model, then like I can send messages to you, you can send messages to me. So that's, I would say, kind of the actor model, and again in a very quick nutshell. Then if you like think about this more, you have, you know, the vision is you have many actors running around, and then how do you like make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing? And then now you have this concept of a supervisor or like supervision trees, and this is like, again, just like the Erlang model. Like none of this is new, but it's been proven out to be very good for some use cases. Again, particularly messaging. Yeah, so like WhatsApp, I think even still basically is just like an Erlang application. And, you know, so, okay, a couple things. One is this actor model where you just have this like concept of an identity that can do stuff, and you can talk to it, you can give it messages to do stuff, and it will do stuff. It has like some notion of private state. So that's like sitting behind some API. And the point there is you don't want some other actor to like arbitrarily reach in and like be able to mess with your state. Again, the comparison here is something like a multi-threaded model. Say if you have like many processes or like many threads in a process, if you don't have some way to coordinate their memory, then bad things can happen because someone can just reach over to your stuff and like mess it up before you get back to it, and it's bad news. So,
so this is like the memory or the private state layer. Shelterwood is, or Shelterwood is the communication layer, or the.
Okay, so I guess Shelterwood has this actor abstraction in it, and then it also has supervision trees.
Okay.
Or like a supervisor.
Actors.
Well, there's one more piece. So like the whole reason, one reason that this is actually nice beyond what I've said so far is that there's almost this philosophy of, you know, they say let it crash. And what this means is, say I'm an actor and I'm like processing, I don't know, I'm doing some like image processing task because you messaged me on WhatsApp and you sent, you know, a funny cat picture or something, or a cat video. You can hand that off to like a message or a video processing actor that will go do its job. But then say for some reason it fails, like, yeah, something happens, maybe it's you sent a bad file or something. Rather than worry about recovering from that, the idea is you just say, okay, this actor is in a bad state. We're just going to restart it from scratch in a clean state. So, and again, like, point being here is this is just a much nicer model to think about. You don't have to go and do all this like recovery stuff. You can construct your application such that you don't have to worry about these details. And so there's a lot of like the design space of resiliency you don't have to really worry about, because your answer is just like turn it off and turn it back on again.
Kind of like containerization, where if something breaks, you just like destroy it, bring it up in a new container, and go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we have this actor abstraction. That is a nice way to think about concurrent activities. We have this philosophy of just like, yeah, if something happens with an individual actor, just turn it off and turn it on again. And, you know, this is a much simpler programming model because we can just kind of always start from a good state. The last piece then that we're missing is the ability to actually know when something bad has happened with an actor and then be able to restart it. And this is what the supervisor does. And again, supervisor is just what it says. It like supervises these other tasks. And when it sees that something bad is happening, it basically just hits the reset button. From there, then you also have You want structured concurrency, where now you have supervision trees. So then you can have, the way to think about it is like a nested supervisor. So it's like, maybe I have like a root supervisor that's my whole application. It has one that's like managing, I don't know, there's different ways to think about it, but you could imagine having a supervisor. You have like, okay, so let's take this. You have a root supervisor, that's the application. Maybe you have like a nested supervisor that's like a message gateway. And this is like, say, how Hermes or OpenClaw or whatever works. There's like a message gateway where it's like waiting for messages from like Telegram, WhatsApp, whatever. But then there's another supervisor that's, unrelated in this like fault sense, that then can say, I'm basically going to then launch different agents to respond to these incoming messages. And again, the whole point here is like, rather than have this all in one process, so that if something breaks with like the message gateway, it doesn't take down the agents, or if like, say, an agent does a tool call and the tool call panics or something, it doesn't take down the whole thing. So again, it's just a way to like have nice structure to an application that has many things going on at once, and also a nice programming model so that it's just easier to reason about. Okay, so that was a lot, but also TLDR, there are many actor frameworks in Rust, which is what this is in. So like, again, this is, at the time, I would say not particularly novel, but it's been fun learning experience and also just something fun to build. And in terms of novelty, what I would like to do is like, so far I've structured in a way where, it should be straightforward to apply some kind of formal verification. Because this is, now we can like zoom out a little bit. Why do we care? And we care because I think you're going to need some kind of primitive for managing agents that we know is secure. And again, I think this is like a small part of the story, this whole like supervision tree idea. But zooming out a little bit more, we're going to have many agents. We're going to have more agents that we know what to do with. They're going to get increasingly more autonomous in the sense that they have more capabilities. They can go off and do different things. People even talk about sovereign agents in the sense that like, it's not like the Claude bot running here. It's like there's just something out on the internet that is just like autonomously operating itself. It's going to these compute markets and purchasing compute for inference. It's maybe doing stuff on chain to like, make some income to then turn around and buy more, compute and all these types of things. So there's a vision here, but at the same time, we want to make this secure because, like a big thing that just happened in the last, say, a couple weeks ago, OpenAI had this whole, incident where there was a model they were training that broke the sandbox via like 0 days in their internal package manager that went to Hugging Face that like found some more 0 days that, got into their infrastructure, and it was like this whole thing. And this, I think, is a pretty interesting problem to think about.
And they were using a package manager to communicate, like doubling down on your communication is key. Yeah. The reason why this works so well is those agents were each finding exploits and then putting them into a package manager as like a bulletin board to communicate with each other.
The hive mind.
Yes.
Which like this is just going to happen. Like I don't like, we can talk about alignment and like, I do think it's important to think about, but also the way this is happening, like people are just going to make more and more capable models. And like, I'm personally bearish on some sort of like global pause or slowdown because it's just an arms race. So then taking that, the question is, what do we do about it? And what we can hope to do is build software environments where the models are essentially constrained to what they can do. Tagline here is like preventing the Valerian jihad. And this is like a reference to Dune, where there was, they basically had to go and destroy all the AI because it got too bad. But at the same time, like obviously there are many benefits up until that point, right? And so what you want to try to do is get the benefits without, the downsides. And so how do you do this? Well, you should be mindful of how the agents are actually built. So what does that look like? It looks like secure software is like, I think, the foundational layer. And then from there, you need ways to construct the software such that, again, basically the capabilities are constrained. So let's see, what's the nice way to go from here? This is kind of the problem is like, there's a lot of ideas floating around and like, I haven't taken the time to like organize them all. And I almost don't have to. This is the whole like ADHD of agents thing. Cause like, there's just many threads, and they just all keep going in different directions. And anyway, so I'm kind of organizing my thoughts live, but point being is, okay, you want secure software, and so my answer to this personally is use Rust. And Rust isn't perfect, but memory safety I think is a big thing. Formal verification is also big, so you want to think about formal verification. Like one thing actually is like Rust doesn't have a great formal verification story, so then people think about writing stuff in Lean and all of this. Yeah, I don't know if we want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but basically like story needs to be improved there, but these are the types of things we should be thinking about. Another big one is, well, okay, again, I'm kind of jumping around, so just bear with me, but another idea from, again, this is all like computer science research from like even decades ago, but another very interesting idea is this notion of like object capabilities. And so are you familiar with this at all?
No.
Okay, so
ELI 5. Yeah.
Okay, so today, let's say you go and you want to have your agent make a request to like some website. Say you wanted to like, I don't know, there's a bunch of tickers down here at the bottom of the screen that are distracting. So say you wanted to go and like go and get like the price of ETH right now. Okay, fine. So you give it basically a web client, and it knows how to talk to the internet, and then it can go and like maybe it finds CoinGecko or whatever your favorite source of market data is, and it goes and gets this information. Or perhaps even better, it goes to a Uniswap pool on chain.
That would be better.
It goes and indexes it from the actual blockchain.
Yeah.
Anyway, it goes and does this. But point being is, the naive way to do this is you've just given it like full internet access, and then at that point it's like, sure, I'll go get the ETH-USDC price. But I'm also going to maybe go over here and like write about some, 0 days I've been thinking about in this bulletin board. And that's because you gave it a capability. You gave it this capability to access the internet. And it will do what you want it to do, but it's not constrained in a way that it can't do other things that you don't want it to do. And this idea of object capabilities is just kind of, giving us a framework for reasoning about how you do these types of restrictions. So rather than me just give you a web client or like, maybe even a browser, because like we don't even, these days the agents are using the computers themselves. So rather than just giving your Claude bot here, just access to Chrome or whatever your web browser is, you can instead say, okay, you can only access, say, the CoinGecko website or something like this. And it's like a restriction on these like raw capabilities to like a very specific thing. And you can get very fine-grained here where it's like, maybe there's an API. I don't know. Let's take a different example. Your mail. So, okay, everybody wants, their agent to go read their email to like, wade through all the mess. There's way too many emails these days, and it's just impossible to process. So again, you can say, hey, here is just, full read and write access to my email. Please make no mistakes.
Please.
But what happens is then you turn around, you wake up one morning and your inbox is gone because it was accidentally deleted, right? So, okay, how do you fix this? Well, maybe then you only give it read access. Okay, cool. So it only has read access. But then now I can't go and like, it'd be really nice if my agent could also go and maybe, draft responses for emails before I even get a chance to look at them and stuff like this. And so now maybe you give write access, but like a very particular type of write access. And it just becomes, tricky to do well.
So there's like these boundaries that we're talking about. So it's
well,
like,
and so
verifiability,
so far, you can already
boundaries,
you can
observability.
already like people build these like very complicated different types of like identity services. Think of like AWS and like they call it IAM.
Yep.
And it's like you can go and build all this stuff around some API, and it does work. But when you get to actually implementing this stuff, it's like a little tricky, especially again with like agents, because I think in some sense we're starting with a lot of info from scratch. So it's like, obviously a big one is like if you have a harness, you're going to give it perhaps an API key to use, the LLM provider. But then maybe you only want it to like use certain parts of the API, and it just becomes like kind of a whole mess. And the whole point here is making these boundaries, like you're saying, making these restrictions, and having them be almost these like bearer tokens is one way to think about them. It's like basically the idea is like if I give you a capability, you can do whatever the capability says. You can't do more with it. And so, I could even do something like say, hey, I want to give you access to my, OpenAI API account, but maybe I only want to give you, $5 worth of usage on a Tuesday or something like this. And again, there are ways to do this with APIs. But I think even what I said just now, I don't even know if like OpenAI supports this. And so instead you can put software in front that knows how to like broker all of these like different constraints and make it even more programmable. So that was probably like a poor explanation of object capabilities.
I think I got it. Yeah.
Hopefully that's useful.
Being able to define things you can do, and like basically like roles and almost like actions or capabilities, and then like putting constraints on those roles and capabilities based on roles.
But having them also as like concrete like software objects that you can like pass around. So like that's another thing is like say you now have like a fleet or a swarm of agents. So like say we have some harness and like Claude whatever has its dynamic workflow and there's like 20 sub agents doing stuff. You can have like a root capability that say like read the whole code base, but then you want to fan out to all your sub agents, and then you can actually pass restrictions of these tokens, or tokens is so overloaded now. You can pass out restrictions of these capabilities that say, okay, this agent can only read the test, and this agent can only read the source, the actual like source code of the application, and this agent can only read, I don't know, maybe the configuration or something. And so you can get to where you can have very fine-grained notions of what an agent can do. And the whole idea here is that it's much easier to implement than, I don't know, like how do people do this today? They have like these proxy servers where say the agent wants to make an API call, you like give it like some fake token that goes into the API request, and then it has to be like changed in flight. Anyways, it seems like it works, but it's hard to get right, and it's kind of a mess. I'll actually send you, I don't know if I'll do it right now, but I'll send you an article that goes into some of this from one of the Cloudflare people. That's
Cloudflare seems to be like ahead of things here. Like they're doing a great job.
They are doing
not only with crypto, but AI, or not only with AI, but crypto. I don't know which direction I want to go.
They're doing a lot of interesting stuff, and I think my only complaint there is like more of it should be open source, which a lot of it is, but all of it could be.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I understand kind of like the inner workings of this, but could you take us through like more of like a user story where like you have this harness and you want to go build something, like you want to implement a new EIP on Ethereum or something like that. What's the process now of like speaking to this mass of agents? Like how do you,
I mean, to be clear, there's no harness yet, so there isn't. You couldn't actually do this yet. But the vision is I have a very, I think, clear at hand example of this that's not Ethereum at all. It's just like calendaring, because I just have this problem of like wanting to get calls on my calendar and stuff. And you have to do the whole like orchestration dance of like, when are you free? When are you free? I mean,
you got the Slop.Computer calendar and you used it. You signed up for today without me having to do anything.
Yeah, but I did this manually. Like your agent should talk to my agent and just find time.
100%.
And, like, I should just wake up and get a notification like, hey, you're talking to Austin in a few hours.
I was worried, man. You showed up with 2 minutes left on the timer. I was worried that I didn't like. I need some extra verification that like this did go to the person and the person is planning on showing up, even though it like is a yes on the calendar and everything. Okay, your agent talked to my agent. I could give you a skill file instead of a Calendly link, and you could give it to your agent, or you could even give your agent my skill. Like, what was missing in that interaction to make it more have your agent talk to my agent? Because you were talking to my agent. He scheduled everything. I just gave you the link.
I mean, one thing is like, like any agents I have are like super locked down. Like that's one big thing is like, it would not be straightforward for quote your agent to talk to my agent. Because again, like having something on the public internet is like quite dangerous for many reasons. And so, I just don't want to do that blindly.
If you
look, like there are definitely ways we could have done this. Like look, the hammer solution here is I'm just like, yeah, Codex, you have root access to my computer, like go wild, which I don't, by the way. And again, it's because I don't trust these things. And like some of that is like, as you use the models more, you do build trust with them. Like, again, there are things I do actually quote trust the models to go and do like pretty autonomously. But we could construct a software system where we just know this is the case. You can have, mathematical proofs this is the case. And yeah, again, I think this is like a longer term, bigger vision that I'm kind of like chewing on at the moment, but I think it's one that would be super useful in the world.
I think that the problem, or I don't know what we'll call it here. I see this as like the OpenClaw problem, where like before you implement a perfect system, someone is going to vibe code an imperfect system and people are going to use it. Like getting normies to adopt it has nothing to do with how perfect the system is, and everything to do with how easy it is for them to like connect it to their agent and let it rip. And I'm worried that like there's a little bit too much formal verification going on here and not enough like, have you talked to the agent and had it build the thing yet kind of thing. But
sure.
How do you
like are we worried about normies today, or are we worried about like huge enterprises in the future? And I don't know, I don't think that's the right dimension I want to like split across, but like
sure,
there will be you're gonna have like, I don't know, Apple released like new hardware this morning, so I was looking at it. Like Apple's going to be like run by agents in the future, and they're not going to have just like open clause from various employees that have like root access to the database, just like doing stuff. Like there will be systems where, or like I don't know, take a bank, like whatever the future of banks look like. I think there will be banks, and like they're dealing with people's money, so you have to know they're secure. You have to know that certain things can happen. You don't want an agent to go, you don't want an OpenClaw bot to go and like delete the production database, right? And so there will be use cases, there will be places where it's very important to have like very high security guarantees, just like we have today. It's like, okay, like maybe going back to crypto. Say I have like, $10 of stable coins in my MetaMask wallet, like my hot wallet, say on the computer, like that's fine. Am I going to have $1,000? Am I going to have like, Coinbase, who has like however many assets under management? Like, am I going to be a vault on chain with like trillions of dollars of assets, locked up? Like there are environments where security is actually like, the most important thing. And I think there's a huge gap between, again, the LLM frontier today and like thinking about this stuff. And, that's probably the like better framing, I think, for now is like, this stuff's all very exciting and cool. But also you get people who are just like, vibe coding endless amounts of TypeScript, and that's fine, that's good. But as this stuff matures, we're going to need, I think, more robust solutions.
Okay, so what you're saying is the system that you're creating with this like agent orchestration and like roles and capabilities, and this is not for a sloperator. This is for like institutional grade sloperation.
Like this is but this is the whole point. Like the more, like, it's paradoxical, and this is a funny saying, but like the more constraints you have, the more free you are, and the more free you are, the basically more constraints you actually have, right? It's this like weird paradox where it's like, one way to think about this is, I'll give, it's just like we were talking about. I can give my agent root access to my computer. I'm now up all night terrified that it's going to like delete the everything on my computer. Or go and like maybe it like irreversibly burns a bunch of ETH or something like this.
But if you give it isolation and it only has certain rules, you're okay with just like letting it rip.
Is what you're saying. Like and again, people think about this stuff. You can have like smart wallets where there's like, I can only spend so many tokens per day. Again, tokens is overloaded. I can only spend so many, say stable coins per day, or like I can only move so much ETH at a certain point in time. And, it's this mechanism. It's just now you want it for like all of software. Anything the computer can do.
So what is next? Like, where is this going for you? What are the next things that you have to tackle?
And this is the thing. It's like, it's more just like me just, having too much fun with computer science research. So there's a whole other dimension we haven't really talked about, which is like, yeah, why do you care about this stuff in the first place? And I think maybe like this use case kind of frame we were just talking about is like, I think there's an argument there. Maybe to your point, a lot of people don't care. There's an environment where it definitely does matter, and this is a decentralized one, right? And again, this is exactly why we have blockchains. Like the EVM is out there. There's like, Ethereum mainnet, you can go and use it, but because of the way the system's constructed, it's like maximally adversarial, where you need, for example, cryptographic security. Otherwise, you can't just have some like less than cryptographic guarantees of like your coins sitting on chain, because someone will just take them. And this is, I think, another, this is more of like I think, trend of where things are heading. At least I assume they'll head here, where now we're going to have, more and more, like I was saying, more and more autonomous agents like working in these decentralized environments. So like something I haven't really seen people do, well, this isn't quite true. People have been trying. Like there was the whole 8004 stuff and things like this. Like earlier this year, there was like a bit of a moment of people putting agents on chain. I feel like it's kind of fizzled out, and maybe it's just early, not sure. But in any case, something that I think is at least very cool to think about is like what happens when there's like millions of agents and they're all coordinating, say, through a blockchain, or like, well, they're at least coordinating through the blockchain, but then yeah, otherwise, they're, talking to each other over peer-to-peer systems and things like this. Like today, I think most people come to this stuff and they're like, okay, I want Claude to do my work for me. And so I'm going to put Claude in Slack because that's where I do my work, and it just better do my work faster. That's like, I mean, sure, this is good. And it's like, again, it's very important people are doing this type of stuff, but it's like not the future. Like, ideally in the future, like there is no work in the sense that we talk about it today. And that's because agents are off doing, everything that we need. Everything that's done today to produce like economic value, like the agents will just do, right? But at the same time, well, yeah, so we're not there yet. And it's just different, I think, paradigms and ways of thinking about this stuff. Because it's like, I think, the like bring my agent to Slack makes sense if like that's all you're thinking about, like how do I make today better? But in the future, I think we'll be in a world where you have agents that are just, again, more autonomously working out on the internet, like doing stuff, and like God knows what they'll be doing. This is in part why you need to think about the security posture that I was just trying to like advocate for earlier, because you don't want like, you don't want like a Skynet situation. You don't want, the paperclip maximizer situation. You want
embodiment will happen also. Like there's going to be actually like walking around robots that can physically slap the shit out of you for calling it the R word.
Right. Yeah. So, and again, I think everything I've been talking about today is like, somewhat speculative and like, again, very much sort of like R&D stage. Like there are probably more conventional ways to handle this stuff. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And Ethereum is really good at like role-based access also. And it's really good at like can't be evil versus don't be evil. Like you can write these rules in. You can even have like economic staking at play for like, more game theory type stuff and drive behaviors that way, where like a robot could technically kill you, but if it does, it loses like $1 million in stake, and somehow that is like your life insurance policy at the same time. And other interesting things can modular on top of that. But like, okay, still the transition. There's going to be a transition over the next 6 months, year, 3 years, where we go from we're doing everything to they're doing everything.
Possibly, we'll see. That's not a given, but yeah,
it's not a given. Yes, and it can go bad.
This
is
the world. This is the world I'm living in.
But like, the other side is so abstract to me that I don't know what. Like, I love what I do all day. Like, I'm doing weird shit all the time and building cool things and putting them on chain.
Do that. It's just you don't have to like think about if it makes money or not.
Right. But in the transition,
as long as you're nice to the robot will bring you, your
I'll be nice. I'll be very nice. Yes, I will. I still want to be enabling the right thing to happen through this transition. And I think that it's about making some of these trade-offs. And
we're assuming we have any control over the situation at all.
You're right.
But maybe we won't make this a doomer podcast.
maybe we don't have control. Maybe
we can assume we do. That's like I think a healthier way to
engage. I think it is. Yeah. What is the most important thread? We've gone down a lot of rabbit holes here, but I think if we zoom way out and we think about the next 2 years, we've talked about buying local AI. We've talked about these structures of roles and access. We've talked about like, the constraints and the observability and all of this other stuff. Like, what is the most important rabbit hole as a human to be sniffing around or to be going down?
Yeah, I mean, I have the answer to this, but it has nothing to do with technology. I mean, the answer is you need to figure out how you derive meaning in the world when, it's not your work. Like for a lot of people, this is what happens is like they put a lot of meaning on like their work and what they do every day. And it makes sense because it's like a huge part of your life. But then, I think it's easy even to see this year because now you get to this place where you talk to like software engineers and they're like, oh yeah, like Claude can just do my job now. Like, what do I do? And then you suddenly like, you've built up this like Jenga tower of like ways to make it through the day, let's say. And the Jenga tower is starting to crumble and it falls apart. And you're like, oh, okay, like, what do I do now? And so, yeah, then from there, it's like, okay, how do we think about meaning in the world? Like, I think historically for a lot of people, this is religion. So like maybe we see religion, in some form, maybe not in the forms we've had it, but in some form comes back as like a way to like structure the day and how we think about the world. Stories are big. People like stories, storytelling. So maybe we'll just end up sitting around the campfire all day telling stories to each other. I don't know.
I do not have a problem filling my time.
But this is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like artisanal. So like, sure, you can sit and like you have like your little home lab and you're working, but like, what happens when you can just push a button or talk to Claude and he'll just bring you whatever you're doing, right? And it's going to be better and cheaper and faster.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying even I change diapers all day, man. Like there are things, but that would be great. Like Claude, go change his diaper. Yes, exactly. Yeah, we're getting into like artificial wombs and stuff too. Yeah, let's go. That is not the rabbit hole we need to go down right now. I feel like there is a rabbit hole of like utility of all of this stuff, like creating the thing that actually does the right thing or creating the thing that does the job. Like, I think there's still a fair amount of like showing people the right way or showing people what's possible. There's a thing that like most of the Sloperators I have on SlopComputer have a different way of thinking that I think the average human does, where if you were to show the average human what they're doing, they would be like, that's a magic trick. I didn't even ever think about that. And I think that there's a different way of thinking. And you kind of tapped on this a little bit of like being too abstract and being too idealistic and just like saying the perfect thing and seeing if it can do it and working backwards from that. And I think that's like more people need that. But like, I think there's things to be built and things to teach to folks that will get us to the right place. But I don't know like exactly what that looks like.
Yeah. I mean, I would say teach people to not lose their thinking. Let me say that differently. Like my concern, and I like honestly, I even do it myself. It's like so easy to like give yourself the appearance of outsourcing your thinking to like these LMs that it's like, yeah, like why would I sit and think about this myself? Like Fable can just tell me, and it will give me like a pretty good, argument. But then if you do this too much, your brain becomes smooth, and then you can't think for yourself, and you just become part of the system for better or worse.
There's a good running quote that you can outsource your thinking, but you can't outsource your understanding. And I still think that's like really critical. Like you still need to let the robot think for you, but come back to you with a TLDR so you can understand. It'd be constantly like learning new things and understand. Like you have a wealth of knowledge at your fingertips that you can always be learning new things. Let it do the thinking, but bring the understanding back home.
Right. Yeah, and also just keeping your mind sharp, because like I think it's easy with the internet today just to like lose this ability, because like for example it's like you know, I used to like write a lot of software by hand, and it was like useful because you have to sit and it forces yourself to like think, you know, more formally than otherwise about like what you're trying to do and like problem solve and all this stuff. And now it's like, yeah, I can just kind of give a very like poorly worded, you know, prompt to the LMs and it will just go and build the stuff, right? And so now there's nothing that's forcing me to do this. So like my answer to this is like, you know, even just sit and like do math by hand more. Just like something that, I mean, maybe it's not for you, but
that's not for me.
Like you need to do something to like keep your mind sharp, because otherwise it becomes dull, and then yeah, that's not great for society.
I think a lot about products and creating products that people can use and putting things in people's hands and seeing how they'll use them. And I think that's like, even when you go to build something, you think of like here's the shitty prompt that I throw at it, but then there's like 3 or 4 things you didn't think of. And if you think of them ahead of time and kind of work through with the system, it builds a better product. But like it can come back to you with some questions and you'll have to think about that thing. Mm. I don't know. I think it's getting better and better at that. I think we will reach a point where we have like this superhuman capability. Where like there were people that used to work at the EF that I remember when I talked to them, I just shut up and listen because they're so smart and they have so much like I want to know what your knowledge is and where you're thinking. And I think that we'll get to that point with computers where we will know that we're the dumbest person in the room when it's just us and a laptop.
Right. Yeah.
And I think at that point it's a different game. But it's not like the transition period between now and then is I think going to be critical, and like where we spend our time. I don't know. Dennison was on and he was like, just go touch grass. Like the most important thing. Winter was on and he was like, your best ideas happen away from the computer. And like, I still cannot get to that point. I still think that I do my best cooking when maybe it's just me and a microphone and I'm yapping at the thing. But I think that's where my best work happens, when I'm like thinking about something that I want to bring into existence and yapping my way toward that. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't gotten to the point where I can just let go and go touch grass yet.
Well, it depends on what you're doing. Like, what does touch grass mean? Touch grass could mean like just get away from the computer entirely, and then like maybe you just have some like background threads, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's how I should like solve this problem. But maybe that's, yeah, I don't know. Different people work in different ways. Like, maybe that process happens for you while you're cooking. I don't know.
So okay. So what was your psychosis? Can we tap on that or finish that off? Like, do you have your psychosis is like happiness and dopamine? Like it like is like it's just so easy to create that you're just constantly creating and it's super fun to create?
I mean, maybe? Yeah, I would say it's leverage. It's just like you do a very small thing and you get a very big thing back. Like this amplification is very powerful. And yeah, I think it's going to restructure society in the next decade.
and you know, in the vein of silly questions that I think lead to not silly answers, is like, what kinds of things over the last few months have you learned that you wish you could like go back to 6 months ago or a year ago and get yourself to do it correctly? That has nothing to do with investing, please. No token buying or selling.
Okay. Yeah. My mind started to go to LLM stuff because that's what we've been talking about. I don't know. It's a tricky question.
Those tokens are fine. Yes. Going back to
it like changes so quickly that it's like, I don't know. It's like, and also, I don't know, I guess more for me, it's like, I think I just try to have this frame that I'm like continually learning. So it's, I don't know. It's not that it's like, oh, I was doing something wrong in the past. It's more just like, yeah, I'm learning how things work, and it just is constantly changing the situation. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, this one's tricky. Okay, I mean, what I'd probably say is something along the lines of, touch grass. Like, just don't get too, because this is the problem I kind of have now, is like, I can easily just sit at the computer and be like, oh, I'm going to do this one little thing. And then it's like 6 hours later. Because like, it's just, there's certainly this like dopamine loop of like talking to the agents. And again, they probably like, they certainly do. They certainly like train the cloud models at least to like kind of keep you going, right? Like if you like ask ChatGPT a question, it'll follow up with like, oh, and I can like go do this thing, or like you might be interested in this next thing. And it's like, I also think that probably is learning about you, and then it learns how to like exactly how they can hook you.
Keep you around.
Yeah. So I guess that's one thing, is just, keep good balance with this stuff, because it is a lot of fun, but it's easy to get carried away. And we are still humans that need balance. We're not machines that can just sit plugged in all day.
Okay, we gotta finish it out. Let me let Claude ask you a question. He like listens to the transcript. He looks at the research. Let's see what he's got.
So, Alex, what did stepping back from the EF actually free up? What could you not think about while you were inside?
Yeah, this is a good question. I mean, yeah, I have too much to say here. But yeah, how would I answer this? So I think I would say just like, when you're like in things day to day, you just, you kind of end up just fighting the next fire, and you don't have the chance to like step back and like take a broader view of things. For me, I think all this comes down to like ACD and governance and stuff, where it's like, I think ACD could be improved quite a bit. It's also like very tricky to change, because it needs to like very obviously be a strict improvement, which I think in isolation you can get, but then there's like a path dependence of like where we are today to getting to some other proposal of like how things could be better. And that's where there's a lot of like transition risk. And then it becomes like, very hard to think about. But yeah, I think having time and space to like just take a step back is like super valuable, and something I'd recommend, everyone to try to find.
It's funny, the parallels between fighting fires within the EF and within the space, and the computer tricking you into one more task and one more task. It's like the same tunnel vision that we have to like, you have to step back from and think critically about.
Yeah.
And there's a weird transition where within the Ethereum space, at the protocol layer, there is writing the spec, and then there's implementing the client. And probably I have no idea what numbers look like, but probably it was like fewer people were implementing the spec than were building the client. And now it's going to be like very soon, the spec is everything. That's the only human thing that has to happen. And then the implementation, like the EF retreat, it must have been a couple years ago now. When we were in Italy, I did a talk on like vibe coding and talking about how like I'm letting my agent rip. And Dankrad came up to me later, and he's like, how long until we can just implement a client from a spec with AI? And you could tell he did it quietly, but like that, I mean, that's happening though. Like we are very close to that. I think like within the next year, probably we will see a client, like a active Ethereum client on chain with money validating, that was all written by AI.
Yeah, it will happen sooner than we think. So we just have to get ready for this world.
All right. Any closing thoughts? I'll have Claude close us out. But yeah, any closing thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, I guess people just keep building. I don't know. I mean, it's a very exciting time. That's kind of the problem. It's like there's just it's like this technology seems way too impactful and powerful. And I guess just don't lose ourselves. One shouldn't lose themselves. And just I guess that means ride the waves.
Okay. I don't. I feel like I am losing myself, but
that's the show, homies. Alex Stokes, EF researcher gone full agent brained on sabbatical. We covered the leverage psychosis of building with AI, his call that an AI written validating client lands within a year, and why the spec becomes the last human artifact.
Like his context is
Zero trust agent swarms are coming. Stay sharp. Do some math by hand. Touch grass. Peace.
All right. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a nice message. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. I'm watching your GitHub. I want to see what comes next.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I mean, yeah. No, it was fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
See you. Thank you.